Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to yet another episode of Before the Free Count. I am your host with the most, Mr. Charlie Crick. Welcome back to yet another episode. How are we all doing? I do apologise. We did miss an episode last week. We didn't have a Friday Night SmackDown spotlight on SmackDown last week. I do apologise. I had a very, very busy weekend and didn't have a chance to catch up. Well, I have catched up now, obviously, but I didn't have time to record a podcast, so I do apologise. But this week, we are spoiling you. Oh God, yes, this is the very first episode of many, many things coming from Before the Free Count this week, because of course, it's Money in the Bank week. How exciting. I can't wait. Right, should we get started? I think we should. Roll that thing.
Are you ready?
We are Before the Free Count. Wrestling for the fans, by the fans.
The number one podcast for the latest on Raw, SmackDown, all pay-per-views. My name's Charlie. I've been a wrestling fan since I was the age of 15. And over the last 5 years, I've gone on the most insane journey. We go through everything, analysing every moment. Welcome to Before the Free Count. So come along and let's go. Yes, and we are back. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to Before the Free Count. My name's Charlie, your host with the most, as always. We're going to do a Raw recap, but it's mainly this whole episode, instead of it being like a Raw recap, it's just going to be basically our predictions for Money in the Bank. I didn't really make a lot of note about the other matches that took place this week on Raw. I know that there was a very good tag team match between the Judgment Day and the War Raiders. There was lots of other stuff that went on, but the main focus this week are going to be them two final matches for the places in Money in the Bank, and of course the lineup that we've got, and of course the second half is going to be a predictions episode. This is the episode where I'm going to actually make my guesses of who I think is going to win Money in the Bank this year, and I've even got the briefcase, if I can get it in the screenshot, which I will lock my predictions in and reveal live on the pay-per-view stream on TikTok, which will then go up straight the next day for you guys to watch. I'm very excited. I hope you're excited. So let's get started. Basically, let's run into the first one, which was... I'm going to do it in a different order. Let's actually do the men's one first, and then go to the women's, because why not? Okay, that's the way I wrote them down anyway. So, brilliant match between AJ Styles, CM Punk, and El Grande Americano. Don't ask. Really good match. Loved everything we saw in it. You put AJ Styles in a match, it's going to be great. You put CM Punk in a match, it's going to be great. You put Chad Gable dressed as someone else, it'll be all right. Yeah. But the result, not happy with that. No, not happy with that one. So, El Grande Americano won, which is Chad Gable. I'm now actually concerned that he could win. However, I think there's a reason they did this. Do you remember, let's go back 4 years ago. And I can't remember what it was, but someone hurt themselves or everyone was out the ring. I think everyone was out the ring. And basically Austin Theory won Money in the Bank and he wasn't even in the bloody match. You know, it's happened before. We've also had loads of incidents at Royal Rumble, of course, where someone's come out and hurt someone. Like Tozawa had to have his position taken, and it was taken by Speed this year, which is still one of my favourite moments of the whole year so far. This year so far, that is still, I don't know how, but it is still in my top 5 moments. Bron Breakker taking down Speed at the Royal Rumble. That was just so funny. This year we're going to do like a end of the year roundup, looking at how everything's gone. Okay, so we'll do that near Christmas. Remind me near the time. We'll do that near Christmas this year. We'll go for everything from January all the way through to December. We'll pick our best pay-per-views, our best tag teams, our best championship match, and best male wrestler and female wrestler, and of course up-and-coming male and up-and-coming female. There you go. I've just made that up on the spot. And we'll do that near December. Anyway, moving back to where we are now, it's June. I nearly said July then. I actually nearly said July. So yes, El Grande Americano wins. The reason why I don't think that he's genuinely going to be in the match is because I think there is a lot of potential people that could still take his place. I've written a few names down just to put it out there. Okay. What if, and I'm just saying, what if, okay, what if John Cena took one of the places? What if CM Punk took one of the places? See? But here's the big one. What if Roman Reigns took one of the places? Now, let me explain. John Cena, I thought about quite a bit, and I thought, it's possible. He's a heel. He doesn't want anyone coming for him. So I wouldn't be surprised if, in some way, he ended up in the match and stopped someone else from cashing in on himself. And, did it with someone like Logan. I really hope that if he did it with Logan Paul, Logan Paul would actually turn on Cena. That might be a really good way, actually, of getting Logan over with the crowd. Genuinely, I don't even know if it'll work at this stage. He's a great heel. I'll give him that. The thing is, I don't like the guy personally, but I can't deny he is fantastic in the ring. And he knows that he's hated in and outside the persona of... This is the thing. I think Logan Paul's the only person that's persona is very, very close to their real life. I mean, come on. But yeah, so John Cena was the first one I thought of. I think that Punk could easily take the place. Easily. I can just see it happening. Drew McIntyre's on a hiatus. I would have put him in there. Same with Damian Priest, but I don't think that they're wanting to let things settle down for a little while with that. Same with Sami Zayn. I feel they've got something bubbling at the moment that it's just not the right time for that. But yeah, moving on. CM Punk I can see happening. CM Punk I can genuinely see happening for many different reasons. And then the last one, Roman Reigns. Now here's where I stand with that. We haven't seen Roman since... I think we've seen him once. Since Mania. Yeah. And, he's been very quiet. Seth Rollins has, got his whole crew together now. With Bronson Reed. And, so this is the thing. This is what happens when you put two people with names quite similar together. You've got Bronson Reed. And then you've got... One's called Bronson, and the other one is called Bron. So Bron and Bronson. Fucking reason why. It's like Tamatonga and Tungaloa all over again. I swear to God, man. Anyway, put this back in. But seriously, fucking names they come up with. I swear to God. They do it to fuck me off. I know they do. See, you can't keep it in now because I swore. Yeah. And Seth Rollins got what he's going on with Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker. And, he's had that going for a while. Paul Heyman. Punk's done his thing, which is quite interesting. It's working. He's going after Seth with Sami Zayn and Jey Uso and, all this stuff. And then you've got the stuff with Solo Sikoa and, of course, Solo Sikoa, JC Mateo, and Jacob Fatu. You got that going on as well. And it's one of those things where, for the first time in quite a few years, you've got Roman Reigns on his own. Again, he started on his own, he leaves on his own. It's a very weird situation. And I think since we've only seen him once, and this is the other thing, it's a 2-night SummerSlam this year. Okay, 2 nights. First time they've ever done that. So they're going to want to build this up massively. And I think that is why, because I was speaking to my editor about this, I think that is genuinely why they have put Money in the Bank this close in the beginning of June instead of like mid-June or like July, because they want that build-up. They want that massive build-up to get to this 2-night event. They're putting as much into this as they usually put into Mania. So I think it's very strange that, you know, I'm not saying no one's thought about this, but, you know, think about it. It's the first ever 2-night SummerSlam. We haven't seen Roman Reigns for a while. There isn't really, apart from him going after Paul Heyman, which we've seen him already do 3 times now. He did it during his reign. He did it afterwards with Solo. I don't want to see it again. So, you know, it's one of those things where I think it has to be something major that makes, you know, us go, oh, this could be, you know, maybe I'm wrong and Roman comes out during the final match. But again, I don't know. And I don't see the point in putting, you know, he's obviously not going to be involved with The Rock and the John thing. I'd be shocked as hell. We're going to come back in like 2 weeks. I'm going to go, oh my God. I'd be really shocked if that's the way they went. I actually think they're going to go the other way. I think they're going to go the way that they did 2 years ago, where they did the same thing that they did now 14 years ago. No, what will be in 2025? That was 2023. No, 2013, sorry. So 12 years ago. A lot of this, the whole, and I know I'm taking it back to something completely different here. This whole bloodline, Cody loses, Roman wins, Roman loses, Cody wins, John's come back, The Rock comes back, John wins, John turns heel, Cody loses. It's a very big rinse and repeat of what we've seen before, not just in the last 5 years, but since the last time we had John Cena and The Rock involved. You know, when they did this. Like, I'm pretty sure that at some point in the last year, Cody and Roman tag teamed a match. I swear to God they did. 2024. There we go. 2024 it was. Roman and Cody tag teamed together for Bad Blood last year in the Hell in a Cell match, which was brilliant. And I think that's when CM Punk was also involved, and it was because they were going up against the other bloodline. That was it. And that's when Punk said the whole thing about him owing him a favour. That's how far. See, I knew I'd connect the dots here. So yeah, I think that's the road they're going down. That they're going to try and bridge all of this together. That I think that we could potentially... The thing is, there's no belt on the line. So we need someone out of these 3 to win a belt. Okay? We need Roman to win a belt. We need CM Punk to win a belt. Or we need Cody to win a belt. Or we bring in John Cena to this. And I think there could... Yeah. I think there's... Now that I think about it, if they go down that route, think about it. You've got John Cena. No one likes him anymore. CM Punk. He's always the rookie's favourite. He's always the dark horse. You've got Roman Reigns. Legend now. Bloodline. The tribal chief. He's broken every single record there is. And Cody Rhodes, who's in a bit of a unbalanced situation at the moment, where he is the good guy, but no one's cheering this good guy anymore. And they need to get it back so, like, you know, we're on his side again. You know, and that's another thing, is that that's a massive part of this, I think, that people aren't considering, is that, like, a lot of the stuff they're trying to do, it's just not working, man. I mean, like, you can't have... I was there, okay? I know I've said this hundreds of times. But at WrestleMania, no one was booing John Cena. I don't care what people say, saying, oh, but it sounded like there were, right, there might have been people quite close to where the mics were that were booing. But for someone that was in the stadium and was in a pretty good position to hear the whole thing, believe me, there were no boos when frickin' Cody lost. A lot of shocks, a lot of and oh my god, but no booing. No, the only booing that actually came was when Travis Scott came out. And this is why it's kind of put him in that weird position. So, yeah, now that I think about it, I think that Roman has got to take a place in this match. Roman, or I mean, you can't put Cody in it because he's got this other match. And then at the same time, it's really weird the way they've done this. I think it has to be between Punk and Roman then. Again, it could be Cena, but with Cena at the moment, I think that they're going to... It's the thing, they've only got like 5 months left with Cena. And like, I think it's getting to the point where they're pushing the term a bit. It's brilliant. I think, like, you know, we're going to look back at this in 5 years and people that are moaning are going, oh yeah, that was actually genius what they were doing. It is. It's genius. I haven't got any problems with him turning heel. It's been absolutely phenomenal the way he did it. Because he's not given anyone anything that they thought they were going to get. And that's the exact point in being a heel. You don't go to please the crowd. You go to annoy them. And he's nailed it to a T. But no, yeah, so I think that Roman or CM Punk have got to be in either the Fatal 4-Way with Jay and Cody and Logan and John, or they take El Grande Americano's place and they win Money in the Bank. And I've just said all of that, and now I'm going to say why I think other people could win, because that is how good the lineup this year is. And I've only gone through this with one guess. I've got 2 others to go. So let's read out just to keep everyone up to speed, because I know this is becoming a bit rambly, this episode. So just to keep you all up to speed, we're still speaking about the men's Money in the Bank. So let's go through the people that are actually in the match, okay? So these are the confirmed ones. Okay, this is the confirmed 6. LA Knight, Andrade, Penta, Seth Rollins, Solo Sikoa, El Grande Americano. Let's go through them one by one. First, LA Knight. If I hadn't said what I just said, and that wasn't going on, he is my pick to win. And here's why. When he started to get really, really over with the crowd was about the time that London Money in the Bank was. And a lot of people wanted him to win. I'd say the majority of people wanted him to win. But when Damian won, we didn't have a problem. It was like, oh, okay, that's really cool. And I think we're at the same situation now with LA, where the thing with WWE, they've never ever given the people what they want when they want it straight away. It's never happened. But over time, they have. Okay? Look at what we've done in the last 5 years. We changed the main event. We're waiting for that main event to now come back, which was supposed to be in New Orleans. That's not going to happen now. That'll be somewhere else. Or they're going to hold it till New Orleans, so therefore we're not going to get it next year. I'm talking about Rock versus Roman, if you're not keeping up here. But I think LA Knight is the one that's in the position where if he won, people would be really happy and wouldn't have a problem with it. And I think it would be a crowd pleaser for everyone. And I feel like that's what sometimes they've been trying to do. And the last couple of years, they've really hit and miss. And I'm just being honest, especially with the men's. So Austin Theory, I think, was the last time that I genuinely thought that they made a stupid decision. But at the same time, the amount that boosted him was huge. the last time I loved someone that won Money in the Bank, I'd say was probably, honestly, Big E. I didn't have a problem with Damian Priest winning it, by the way. I did not have, when I say that, I think he had one of the best cash-ins I've ever seen. It was as good as Seth Rollins. It was as good, okay? There's no shadow of doubt about that. In terms of in terms of them winning it, though, I wasn't, as I said, I was like, oh, that makes sense. It's pretty good. But I wasn't, yes, that's what I wanted. Big E was who I wanted to win. As I said, at that one in London, I wanted LA Knight to win. I can't even remember who was in the match when Austin Theory won. Seriously, I can't even remember. But I think that out of all the people on the list, LA Knight is the one that people would go, yeah, I'm happy he won. Andrade, don't think he's at the position. I just don't think he's in the position yet where he could be looked at and go, potentially, yeah. I think what he's doing at the moment is brilliant. He's really started to build himself back up. And I think with this AAA Worlds Collide pay-per-view on the Saturday is really going to help people like Andrade. We're going to talk about that in a bit. But I think that pay-per-view, and I'm going to go in a lot more on this because I've written down the matches. If you are a fan of wrestling, you need to watch this pay-per-view coming up because this is going to be significant in so many ways. I'm actually tempted to, you know what, I'm going to put this down now. And you can hate me or love me for saying it. I think there's a potential chance that Worlds Collide in the morning or the afternoon over here in the UK will be a better pay-per-view than Money in the Bank. I said potentially. Could be. I'm not saying it will. I'm not saying it won't. I'm saying I think this genuinely has the potential to be the crowning show of the weekend. And that's a big thing to say against my favourite pay-per-view of the year. But I genuinely think that Worlds Collide could be that type of pay-per-view. So if you're based in the UK, I believe it kicks off around about 3. I believe. I could be wrong, but check it out, okay? It's on YouTube, so it's completely free. There's nothing you need to do. Just tune in on YouTube on the WWE channel. And if I know some people listen to this, they're not even into, they might not even be into wrestling. If you want to see lucha wrestling, the Mexican wrestling, this Saturday at, I believe, 3 o'clock would be one of the perfect times to try and start getting into it because it's going to be phenomenal. But as I said, I was talking about Andrade. He's got a match at Worlds Collide. Who's he with in that match? Let me have a look. Because I've got it on the other side. Give me a second. Oh, he's with El Grande Fantasma in one of the matches. Yeah. So, yeah, he's going to be involved in that. So I think, and that's the other thing, he would have already had a match earlier in the day. So there's a potential chance, he could be the person that loses his spot because he gets injured in a match at that. And I think they could do the same thing with El Grande Americano, Chad Gable. I wouldn't be surprised if he got involved in some way at Worlds Collide. I think it would offend a lot of people. So, but it could happen. It genuinely could happen. So, that's where I sit with him. Now we're going to go on to someone that I think everyone wants to win. And everyone at the moment thinks he's going to win. And that's Penta. The reason why I don't think Penta will win is the exact reason why I think LA Knight will win. Because LA Knight has been given the time to grow, develop, show that he doesn't need a belt, and be as good on the mic as he was 2 years ago without being in the main story. Penta needs that. He's brilliant. I think he's one of the best wrestlers we've seen come in the last 5 years. Him and Rey Fenix. When they start tag teaming together, because you're taking so long to get there. When them two start working together, man, that's the time where I want to see the Usos come back and have a fight. Seriously, that's, you know, I genuinely think that one of the future matches will be Rey Fenix and Penta versus the Usos at some point. I don't even know if it will be this year, to be honest. But I think that is a match they have to look into at some point. But again, you've got Jay that's on his own now. But still. But I think everyone wants Penta to win. I don't think it's his time yet. I think it will happen. I think Money in the Bank, cash in, win, or whatever you want to call it, is in his pipeline within the next 3 years. But I don't think they're going to do it straight away, because as I said earlier, they don't do it straight away. They let it, you know, they let you think about it, let it manifest. It goes to the back of your mind and you go, you remember when you mentioned that like 3 years ago and you really wanted it to happen? What if we just threw it on you and made it a shock surprise? So then when it does happen, not only would you be happy, but it gives that, you know, excitement and shock to it. And I think that's what's happening with Penta. Love him though. I think he honestly cannot fault the guy in any way at all. But that's where I see Penta. Then we have Seth Rollins. I think that it's too obvious for him to win. He's won before. I think CM Punk could be the one that gets involved, or Roman gets involved, and it's going to be at that point when you think that Seth Rollins is going to win, and Punk or Roman come in, pull them down, throw them out the ring, and they climb the ladder and win. That's what I think will happen. And I think the exact same thing with Solo Sikoa. If Solo Sikoa won, though, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I think Solo Sikoa would be my second choice this year. Purely because he's proven that he can do stuff on his own. He's got a very interesting story going on at the moment. And I think that it would work. You know, because he could cash in on Jacob Fatu. I don't think he would. Because he should cash in on, you know, like one of the bigger belts. But I think for storyline purposes, 100% could happen. 100% could happen. So yeah. And then is that it? Yeah, it is. So yeah. And then, you know, you got El Grande Americano, which we've already spoken about. And literally that took the first half of the blinking podcast. So I'm not going to go over that again. I think that he's there to be taken out for someone else to come in. So that's where I think it is. So my prediction for this year is it will be, if we're going to go down the route where it's the 6 people, I think it's going to be LA Knight. If we're going down the route where someone's going to jump in and take someone's place, like Andrade or El Grande Americano, it's going to be either CM Punk or Roman Reigns. Simple as that. Let's move on to the women's Money in the Bank match. In that match, we've got Roxanne Perez, Rhea Ripley, Naomi, Alexa Bliss, and Stephanie Valkyria. Right, is it Valkyria or Valkyria? I think it's Valkyria, because the way it's spelled, you put a bloody Q in there. Anyway, let's go through them one by one. Again, Roxanne Perez. I've really been impressed by her. Really, really been impressed with her. I think there's a chance, but I don't think she's ready yet. It's quite hard because where they've put the women's match is so stacked this year that I actually think that minus 1 or 2 of them, all of them, the rest of them could win. And Roxanne Perez is in that, you know, she could win. She could, and I'd be happy with it. It would be great. But again, I don't think it's her time. I don't know why. But, you know, maybe. Next on, Rhea Ripley. A lot of people don't want her to win because she's had so much success. She's never been in a Money in the Bank match before. Not that I'm aware of, anyway. And she's still only 6 years into her career, I believe. I apologise, she has been in a Money in the Bank match before. I do apologise, just remembered she has. But I think she could win it. I really do. Because it would give her some gravitas to what she's doing at the moment, where it just seems to be going back and forth between the people. And, you know, it doesn't not have potential what she's doing, but it needs something. You know what I mean? It needs something to it. And I think that putting the Money in the Bank on there would be amazing. Because she could challenge, you know, would she challenge it for the women's title? I don't know. I don't know. But I think Rhea has got a really good chance of winning it. And she'd cash in on Tiffany 100%. 100% she's going to cash in on Tiffany. It would be brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So, yeah, that's where I sit with Rhea. I think it's possible. I think it would make sense. And Naomi's exactly the same. It's really hard now. I think Naomi deserves it. I really do. She's worked so hard, and she went away. Ever since she's come back, she's just been kicking ass, man. I've said it before, that match at WrestleMania was one of the best matches, men or women, I have ever seen. The storyline with Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, and it's been phenomenal. Again, it needs a little push. Maybe it's this. Maybe this will do it. You know, it'll push it in that direction. Again, it's really hard because when you look at the ones that are the more well-known, like your Rhea Ripley's, your Naomi's, your Alexa Bliss, who we'll get onto in a minute, you look at them and you think, just because they've had more of a career at this point does not mean they do not deserve a chance of winning this. Again, you never know. You never know. Let's move on to Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss is who I want to win. And that's down to many different things. One, she's my favourite out of the lot of them. She's my favourite wrestler. And because I've been watching her for longer. Two, I think that she hasn't had the push that she's needed since she's got back. She's in the same position. She didn't have a match at WrestleMania. We don't know why still. But, you know, she needs a push. She's been put in this match for a reason. And the fact that the Wyatt Six just came back. That's my biggest thing. She could do so much with it if she was with the Wyatt Six. It would be phenomenal. It really would. If they gave them I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If you give these guys the time on TV, Wyatt Six could be huge. They could be, I don't even know who to compare them to. Like, they could be at Judgment Day level. Seriously. I mean, you know, where they were a couple of years ago. Really, I really think that they're dropping the ball on this. It's really nice to see that they brought them back and they're doing this whole tag team thing. But wouldn't it be brilliant if she won the Money in the Bank and she cashed it in on someone like Tiffany and won, and then she's Sister Abigail or something like that in the group, because she worked the most with Bray out of all the people in the group. It would give it so much leverage. And again, I just think it would be brilliant. And again, I think she deserves it. She's, you know, been away, had a baby. She's come back. She's not been given the right time. She didn't get you know, she didn't get the match at WrestleMania. And they always say that, you know, if you don't get something at the time, something else is coming up. I think Alexa Bliss is her time to, you know, get that push. And that's why I think she will win, and I want her to win. Julia, way too early into her career. I'm sorry, it just is. She's in the same position as LA Knight 2 years ago. I've said it 5 times now. If people want her to win, great. Wait a while. She needs some time. I'm not denying that she's brilliant. She's absolutely fantastic, what she's been doing. But, you know, it's the same with Stephanie Valkyria. They're giving them a big push and putting them in these slots very quickly, which is a really good thing to do because it gets their name out there. They did the same thing with Bronson Reed when he came along, and then you didn't see him for a while. And then he's come back and he's involved in the Seth Rollins thing, and he's now involved in like one of the biggest storylines. You know, it happens. They have to give them a push so people get to know them. And then they're like, you know, relax a bit. And then they just slip them in without you thinking. And it would, and and you just go, oh, it's exactly who it needed to be. And it's why stuff like this works. And I just feel that Julia and Stephanie Valkyria are at that point at the moment. I mean, Stephanie Valkyria's, that was only like her first match on Raw or something like that. So, like, seriously, if you think she's going to go straight into that and win, no. Again, let's go over them one more time. Roxanne Perez, I think, is the favourite and potentially could win. I think Rhea Ripley deserves to win. I think Naomi deserves to win. But I think Alexa Bliss should win. And for Julia and Stephanie Valkyria, it's too early in their career. So Alexa Bliss is my choice this year. Sorry to take a bit of time out in the vlog for you, but I wanted to talk about our sponsor, the amazing WrestleCrate, as you may have heard here. What is a WrestleCrate? Well, let me tell you. WrestleCrate is a monthly subscription box for people like you, you know, that love wrestling. What do you get in this box, you're probably wondering? Well, let me show you. Autographs from people like Daniel Bryan, Lita, Godfather, DDP, Kane, Sting, the Hardy Boys. Well, what else do you get? Well, maybe you get a cool poster like this one. Cool key rings. Even pretty cool Lucha Libre puzzles like this. Cool pins like these. And you also get awesome t-shirt just like all of these. It's the best part, because you come through us before the free count, you can get yourself a free WrestleCrate with your first order just by going to www.wrestlecrate.co.uk and using the code BTTC, and you get a free box with your first order. How awesome does that sound? So what are you doing sticking around here? Go and get yourself one. Let's move on to the other 2 matches at Money in the Bank. So one of the matches that we've also got on Saturday night with Money in the Bank is Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch. Now, I think there's some potential that Becky could get involved in the Money in the Bank match. I was going to mention it when I was talking about it then, but I thought there's too much potential. I think there's too much potential on what's going on at the moment. But I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm just saying I don't. It's weird. It's really weird when you do something like this, because you'd love to be right, especially when you do like a podcast. And I'm putting this out like 4 days before. It really is like, I'd love to be able to come back next week and go, I told you, but you can't guess everything right. And I think that there's a chance for everything that Becky could, but I think there's more of a chance of Becky actually winning against Lyra on Saturday. And here's why. Because when I said that then, all of you went, why? For that exact reason. She gets the belt back. It's a good storyline. We then have a brilliant match set up for SummerSlam. That is why I think she'll win. And honestly, I think it'll be really good. You know, she'd be given like a good 5-week run. I'm not even going to say that she's going to keep it for that long. I wouldn't be surprised if she got it, and then whoever wins Money in the Bank cashes in during that match, and they win it, because they've done that many, many times at SummerSlam now. And I really think that's how I think that is the road they're going to take this down this year. It's the same thing that they did last year or a couple of years ago, where it was cashed in at SummerSlam. I don't see it being... I mean, it could be cashed in on that night. It could. Actually, that makes quite a bit of sense, because then you could have a triple threat. So maybe it will get cashed in. Maybe. But no, I think that if it's not cashed in on the night... Again, this all depends on the order these matches go in. And we don't know the order yet. When we know that is when you can start putting pieces together on how the show's going to flow. The last 2 years, the men's has opened, and the women's has been the second to last, and then the main event, which I've always found really funny that we've gone in that order now, that the main event for Money in the Bank isn't actually one of the Money in the Bank ladder matches. I mean, I'm not denying it. Some of the matches we've had as main events have been fantastic. But, you know, and this one that's coming up is... interesting. Again, that's why I said what I said about someone running in to take place at the men's Money in the Bank, like CM Punk or Roman Reigns, who I think it will be. But let's move on to that match now. Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso and John Cena and Logan Paul. Here's what I know from the grapevine. This was supposed to be Travis Scott. If you haven't worked that out by now, I think it was pretty obvious. Travis Scott had been training since WrestleMania. And the talks kind of really started at Backlash. And he started really training then, because they had this idea. And then, literally, as it was supposed to happen, about a week before, Travis pulled out. Again, I'm not going to name my sources, the people that I know this from, because I don't want to get people in trouble. But, from what I've heard, and I've had some reliable sources before, this was supposed to be a Travis Scott and John Cena versus Cody and Jey. But we've got Logan instead. I think there's still potential that Travis could get involved, because maybe they change the plan and have it so we get something like, I don't know, at SummerSlam. And then at SummerSlam, The Rock comes. But I don't know. You know, it's all so up in the air at the moment with a lot of things. And I've not mentioned the releases. Let's just talk about it. Some of the releases we've had recently have been shocking. And I think we all know the main one has been R-Truth. Ron Killings as well. The fact that he main evented Saturday Night main event against John Cena literally less than a fortnight ago, and he's been let go from the company after 17 years, something like that. It's ridiculous, right? He was never a main star. He was never a Dean Ambrose. He was never a John Cena. He was never a Roman Reigns or Seth Rollins or CM Punk. He weren't ever one of them, okay? But he was one of those people that you always expected to see day in, day out in WWE. And some of the matches he had, he was so funny with the way that he presented himself. He was so clever with the way that he came up with his promos. And his wrestling, I know people are going to take the mick, but his wrestling ability is clearly bloody good, because he would not have been there for 17 years. some of the stories that he's had that were absolutely brilliant is his secret little brother, Little Jim, which is invisible and no one's ever seen. The fact that his childhood hero, even though he's older than him, is John Cena. The time he ran in during the Royal Rumble and pulled out a ladder and started climbing it, thinking he was in the Money in the Bank match, you know. And that's not even mentioning when they brought in the 24/7 championship, and he's held that. There's a little fact for you. R-Truth held more championship titles than Roman Reigns and Hulk Hogan combined, because of the amount of times that he won the 24/7 championship. And if you win it, you know, it still counts as like 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, 4 time. It was something like 27-time champion. And plus the fact he seems like such a down-to-earth guy. Everyone seemed so shocked when it came out that he was gone. I didn't think it was true. Genuinely, just no, shut up, no way. And then I saw the official statement from him. It really broke my heart, because I thought that WWE has been something that's been going for years and years and years, and it's been like, you watch these people grow, you watch them get better, and it's entertainment and all that. But in some ways, you see them as a bit of like, you know, as in like a TV family. And certain people you always expect to be there. Like, I never see Roman ever leaving. I don't really ever see Seth leaving at this point. You know, Michael Cole is always going to be there. You know, Triple H is always going to be there. The Undertaker's always going to be involved. I can always get some laughs from The Miz. I can always get some laughs from R-Truth. Oh, I can't now. You know, it changes. People come and they go. But there's certain people that have been, like Batista. He's never going to wrestle again for any other company. I don't care what people say. You know, it's part of the way the thing is. Mick Foley. You know, I'm just mentioning people that you presume will always be there. And, you know, I personally think R-Truth was one of them. The thing that's scaring me is that there's now a rumour that one of the people that I just mentioned could also be released, which is The Miz, which I think is absolutely diabolical. The Miz won, didn't win the Tough Enough show, but he came up through that being like someone in the crowd, annoying the fans, and then he got a little bit of time in the ring, and then he realised that if I'm going to be a heel, I could do this really well. And then he got better and better and better, and he built up so much that at WrestleMania 27, yeah, he main evented and won because of The Rock. You know, he's had multiple tag team championships. He was at the time, for quite a while, one of the longest reigning Intercontinental Championships. No, he wasn't. That was Hillbilly Jim. No, sorry, it was the Honky Tonk Man. And before that, it was the Intercontinental Championship. He was like second longest reign before Gunther. USA Championship, I think he's won about 3 times. He's unbelievable. And there's apparently rumours that he might be leaving. What the hell is going on? You know what I mean? There's certain people within wrestling that you know will be absolutely phenomenal and huge, but you can't always guarantee they're going to stay. I mean, CM Punk's one of them. You know, who else do I see? You know, Bianca Belair, she did it. I'm trying to think of some others. But you know what I mean? Like, there's certain people that you see come back and forth and they're great. Big Show. Mark Henry. You know, people like that. They're still involved in WWE. JBL. Booker T. You know, they've gone off and done other things, but they've come back. But, you know, they've gone off. There's certain people that you just think are WWE lifers. R-Truth was one of them. And I was so sad when I found out that he was let go. And I think that's something that we need to really speak up about. It was one of the other things I did notice on Raw this week was most of the chanting was, we want truth, we want truth, we want truth. Because the thing is with WWE is as much as it's scripted entertainment, it's controlled. I said this earlier about when people wanted LA Knight to win. And then they hold it, and then it happens. And I think it will happen this weekend. And, other things like, people wanted Cena versus Rock for years. And then they finally got it. People want Roman versus Rock. And they're going to get it. It's all these different things that, And over time, they listen. And I think if we're loud enough, we make this as loud as we did with We Want Cody, which I think potentially this should be as big as, they should bring truth back. And honestly, I don't want to see him go to another company. I really don't. I mean, people have been joking about that he's going to go to AEW and go with MJF and turn up and go, hey, Miz, I didn't know you jumped ship as well. Yeah, great. Funny for about 10 minutes. But with people like, Tony Khan in charge, he will drop the ball on them quicker than you can say all in. It's not going to work. TNA potentially could work, okay? TNA could potentially work. But again, it wouldn't be a long haul thing. He could do the indie scenes for a while, and he could make a lot of bloody money doing it. But all in all, I think that he deserves to be re-signed. I've really gone off subject there, but it's because it really, really shocked me that he was gone. But yes, we went on to that, and we're going to really go over today. I do apologise. And we spoke about the Cody fight, we've spoken about the men's and the women's. At the end, I'm going to put my predictions in the briefcase for this year. But let's move on very, very quickly to Worlds Collide, which is happening on Saturday afternoon on YouTube. Please watch it. It's going to be a phenomenal pay-per-view. It's the first time WWE and AAA Mexican wrestling has worked together. And here are some of the matches you've got coming your way. You got Dallas and Chick Taranto versus Stephanie Valkyria and Lynn. And we have some incredible matches at Worlds Collide on Saturday. You have got Dallas Chick Taranto versus Stephanie Valkyria and Lena Weiss. You've got El Grande Fantasma versus El Handoro Wagner Jr., Psycho Clown and Pango. You've got an NXT Fatal 4-Way, which is again Lareed Kids, Ethan Page, Ray Phoenix and Jason Evans. You've then got the LWO versus Alcano Saraya and a few others. And then you have got El Haujo Vintigo versus Chad Gable. I might not have pronounced all the names right. I did try my best there. I'm really sorry. But it's going to be an incredible pay-per-view. That one with Psycho Clown and Pango, I've seen those guys before. They're incredible. Ethan Page, I've seen in person multiple times. One of the best guys on the indie scene at the moment. The women's match is going to be fantastic. Do not miss this pay-per-view. It is going to be phenomenal. Okay? So that is Worlds Collide on Saturday afternoon in the UK, 3 o'clock. I believe it could be earlier. And that is nearly it. But I have to make my predictions for Money in the Bank. So, here we go. So we'll start with the women's, okay? And what I'm going to do is put down 2 things for each, because there's 2 different scenarios that could happen, and I've spoken about them both. So, People are going to say you should have put Charlotte Flair, but just know, if this comes back and bites me on the butt, I swear to God. I swear to Almighty God. So there you go. You can read it yourselves. If all 6 say the same, Alexa Bliss. If there is a replacement or run-in, Becky Lynch. Let's do it for the men's. Same thing. If the 6. There we go. The OTC Roman Reigns. And if no one else runs in, stays the same, it's going to be LA Knight. Let's do this. Let me get the briefcase. You never know when you need one of these. Because I tell you, they are bloody cool. If anyone's ever been interested in what they look like, they don't come with the contract in. But if you're watching it, I printed off a contract a couple of years ago just to put in there to make it look cool. Which is there. But this is genuinely what the Money in Bank briefcase looks like from the inside. There's nothing in there apart from some keys in case if you lock it and genuinely don't want anyone in there. But in goes the predictions. There we go. That's it. They're all locked. And I will change the code. There we go. That is it. This will be in the background of everything we do leading up to Money in the Bank now. Somewhere where you can see it. Where could I put it? But, yeah, we'll work this out. Something like that. Perfect. Something like that. Then you know I haven't touched it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Before the Free Count. As I said, there will be a few other extra episodes coming this weekend. Remember, you can also stream Money in the Bank live with me on TikTok on Saturday. And that will be part of the main vlog that will go up Sunday straight away. There'll be no edit. I repeat, no edit. Going straight up, straight after Money in the Bank, or probably after the press conference, in case something comes out in that. But that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed, and we will see you later.